Georgia's Republican governor and Secretary of State refusing to help Donald Trump try to overturn the 2020 election. But other Republican state officials, they are furious with the indictments announced by DA Fani Willis. A Republican state senator, Colton Moore, wrote to Governor Kemp this week demanding a special session for lawmakers to review Willis's actions, something that is not likely to happen because it is rare for a governor to do so. Otherwise, 3/5 of the Georgia House and Senate would have to vote for it, and Republicans would need, by the way, Democratic votes to reach that threshold. Moore is also calling for defunding Willis's office and for her impeachment, quote, if appropriate. Want to bring in Georgia Democratic State Representative Shay Roberts to talk more about this. Representative Roberts, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Yasmin.
Any possibility Democrats would get on board with this?
Of course not. I really have no concern about Senator Moore's request. It doesn't even look like he has very much support from his own party. And as you said, Governor Kemp is probably not willing to call one as well. What I do find extremely concerning is the attempt to paint DA Willis's actions as politically motivated when she's doing the job she swore an oath to do. 2 separate grand juries, after reviewing the evidence and listening to the testimony, have found probable cause to charge Donald Trump. And 41 criminal counts, 91 across 4 different states. We aren't talking about one jurisdiction or 1 or 2 charges. He has been charged with 91 criminal counts. So, of course, it would be improper for DA Willis to charge simply for politically motivated reasons, but that's not her. It would be equally as wrong for us not to hold Donald Trump and his associates accountable, because it would violate her sworn duty not to prosecute if there's probable cause. And it would violate standards of professional conduct for lawyers. And so, just because he is an elite politician, I think there's enough distrust in the government right now as it is. And if we don't hold those in high power accountable, I think that's only going to continue to erode the rule of law and the public's trust in us.
Here's also what's happening in your state, an effort by Trump supporters in the state of Georgia to change the pardon rules, right? We have reported multiple times now the governor cannot pardon in your state, does not decide, I should say, on pardons. But we also have learned that his office, along with other top Republican lawmakers, are not on board with this, of changing the pardon rules. All that aside, what does it say about the support the former president has in your state, considering the backlash we have heard so far with this indictment?
Well, I think what you're seeing in Georgia is that there is a division even among the Republican Party. And some of my colleagues have expressed significant concern over what's going on with Donald Trump and him still continuing to be the leader in the primary. And so we have more extreme conservatives that are in charge of part of our state. And then we have, I think, the more reasonable Republicans. I do appreciate that Governor Kemp and Speaker Burns have said the 2020 election was not stolen. I would also love to hear them say that they're not going to support the person that they're criticizing as much as they are. But we'll go leave that alone and see where we end up on Election Day.
I also quickly want to ask you about this new Georgia law creating a commission that can review complaints over prosecutors if something illegal is involved. This was actually signed by, into law, I should say, to create this commission by the Georgia Governor Brian Kemp. Do you believe that Republicans would try and push this commission, this law, when it comes to DA Fani Willis?
So it's interesting. I was on the committee, the Judiciary Non-Civil Committee, that deliberated this particular bill. And I don't necessarily think that it was implemented specifically for her. There has been some general criticism of Democratic DAs that they are not prosecuting all crimes. And really what I think they've been expressing is violent crime is up. And so they're using their prosecutorial discretion to charge more violent crimes and maybe let small amounts of marijuana are just not the priority. So that was the justification for the bill that we were told. But there are 3 ways already under our Constitution and our laws to impeach a district attorney or to remove a district district attorney. And so this is just an extra layer, expensive for the taxpayers, layer of government that I do think will target some of our DAs. I hope that they would not do that. And the ironical thing is that they're sitting here saying that she is prosecuting a crime, and so they want to impeach her, remove her. But she's doing exactly what they said they wanted that bill to do, to force them to review each crime and charge. So I just think it is kind of interesting that this is the criticism.
Georgia State Representative Shay Roberts, thank you.